r/AskReddit by Redmond ETS. What's the weirdest thing you've done that you could only tell people anonymously? Once I got off the subway in New York City and I was super early for an appointment. So I picked a random guy and just followed him on foot for like 30 minutes, pretending I was like a private detective or something. Always kept about a half block behind. He turned this way and that, and eventually went into a building I had lived in 9 years earlier. It was weird, and so was I. All throughout middle school, there was someone who tucked unwrapped Hostess devil dogs into the toilet paper dispensers in the bathrooms, so that when you pulled some toilet paper out, the devil dog would fall out into your hand. We had to have an assembly about it. That person was me. One time I went outside at like 2 AM and put the garden hose nozzle into my butthole and sprayed some water into it, then I farted it out onto the lawn. Basically gave myself an enema with a garden hose. I did this because I was bored. My neighbor saw me and told my dad. Lived at home at the time. I downloaded Grindr because I thought maybe I was gay, but after a few dudes started messaging me, I was like, this is gay as fudge, and deleted it. I thought this'd be gay but not that gay. I jerked off to some sexy sounds, which I thought was my neighbor banging some hot chick, which he did a lot. But it was actually another neighbor's severely disabled adult daughter, very low functioning autistic I think, who was making the noises. She used to hang out in their backyard and would verbalize with grunts and moans that I misinterpreted as sexy moans. I was extremely socially isolated as a child and tried to make friends with the coyotes who lived in the woods by our home. I caught one in a snare and fed and kept her. I wanted a friend. Stole over 1,000 wafers from church because I really liked the communion wafers and didn't know where else to get them. I felt really blessed and cursed for a long time. My wife and her best friend picked me up from a frat party blackout drunk. Then they helped me take a dump on the toilet, wiped my ass and then gave me a shower and put me to bed naked. Don't remember any of it. I found a dead rat in a field when I was younger and kissed it because I wanted to say goodbye. My cat has trained me to give her rides around the house by jumping on my shoulder. I walk her over to the peephole of the door. She looks at it really. There is a dangling elephant thing with a bell that my wife has a decoration. She looks at and or sniffs it. I walk her to the back door to take a look for a minute. It's glass. Then I drop her off at her cat scratching post and she jumps off. She purrs like a freak the entire time. It's adorable. We do this several times a day. Gathered apple seeds cause I heard they had cyanide in them back when I was trying to find ways to self-yeet. We got super drunk and ate a ton of spicy food in New Orleans. Back at the bed and breakfast, the food started to come out the backside. I was sitting on the toilet crapping bricks of fire. At that moment, the booze decided to hang a U-turn. The trash can was out of reach and I couldn't risk standing up from the toilet for even 5 seconds. The closest receptacle was the bathtub. I managed to turn in such a way that I could keep crapping in the toilet while projectile vomiting into the tub. Both ended up clogged, and there was no plunger. I had to call the owner to explain that I had destroyed both their toilet and their tub simultaneously. Had sex with a potential girlfriend's mom while the prospect was passed out after a house party. I was drunk. She was drunk. Mom was drunk. Her dad was not in the picture. Edit. To answer questions, yes, we dated afterwards, even got engaged for a while until I decided it was time to slow down the drinking and partying. Broke my heart to break it off with her, but I needed to grow up and get off the booze. She passed away maybe a year afterwards. Her and her new boyfriend died in a single car crash on a back road. Drinking was involved. I will never let what happened between her mom and I that one night, out of respect to her memory. I still miss you, Val. I had a baby by C-section and didn't take the stool softeners. Found out the hard way that I should have. I had kidney stones a few years back and was in a lot of pain. I didn't know it was kidney stones at the time, and some of the pain felt like blow balls. I was at work and in a lot of pain down there. Told my coworker who was my good friend, and I had a thought that if I could jerk off it would help relieve the pain. I went to the bathroom and rubbed one out, stopping when people came in to do their business. Finished up and then was still in a lot of pain. I remember going over to her and said, "It didn't work," with a pained look on my face. I went home early later on. Have never told anyone, but hahaha. For a moment I thought this was going to be a very different kind of story. Was drunk at an escape room with co-workers. It was an extreme one where you are handcuffed the entire time. I decided in my drunken state that it would be baddest to dislocated my thumb and slip off the cuffs like the movies. It wasn't. We got kicked out, my co-workers were weirded out, and I had to go to the hospital. I quit a few weeks later. White collar wasn't for me. Did you get kicked out for doing a forbidden escape tactic or so they could take you to the hospital? My tactics confused and frightened them. Drove my car into a tree, no seatbelt, trying to unalive myself. Failed and ended up with a badly broken right arm and left hip, like total hip replacement. Everyone in my family thinks it was some accident and I've been too embarrassed to admit it wasn't. That's all folks. Thank you for watching. If you like videos like this one, why not like and subscribe for more? Have a nice evening.